Hajimemashite everybody, welcome back. I have been busy doing the lives, which is actually quite useful because it kind of helps everybody get to know me, get to meet me. I can introduce myself. And today, because it was the Met Gala, and I actually reported on the Met Gala last year during the same time, I thought taking a break from a little bit of the music into fashion. Now don't forget, I have 3 skills that I've worked on: music, arts, and fashion. And that's exactly what this channel is about. It might say composed music with Cinta Margot, but Cinta Margot is the label that I have for my fashion. And I sell clothing on Poshmark, so I'm sort of like in the fashion. I haven't been in the fashion as much as I used to be. And I make stuff, I make clothing. Speaking of clothing and sales, YouTube has just started their store for people dealing with the arts, and I think underneath the umbrella of the arts. So if you're like an artist and you're past like 500 subscribers on YouTube, you can probably start the shop. So I'm still in the process of building that, but I have my Poshmark, which I'm selling from, so I'm not too worried about it. It would be nice to actually physically sell directly off of YouTube, rather than me having to do like a show on Whatnot and then displaying the show so everybody can see it. So what will happen is you can actually sell your clothing directly on the shows or whatever items you have to sell. So that's what I'll start doing once I get to that stage. Going back to the Met Gala. Corsets were like a thing. It was called Test of Time, Sleeping Beauty, kind of like a very romantic era approach to clothing. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend downloading the Vogue app, because Vogue actually did a rerun of the whole entire fashion couture event on their channel, which is obviously Vogue. And I'm like a big Vogue fan. I've always been very interested in Vogue ever since I was younger, and I've done photography for models, and I've dressed people on occasion. And I have another side to me, so don't just think it's just the music. You know, I think it's important to understand that people might be diverse in more than one skill. I mean, look, you have musicians who are also artists, and artists who are actors. I mean, look, Johnny Depp, before he actually became a musician or an actor, he was in fact an artist. So you see that the arts kind of interlock, and everybody has skills that they're capable of doing on very different levels. Grimes, for instance, was doing stuff on stage. She produces her own stuff. She does her like live shows, and she DJs, and she does everything on her own. She probably even does her digital art and graphics. So artists are diverse. I think it's important to recognize people for who they are, and it is important to be honest with yourself and what you're capable of. Now, I'm not a singer. I like to produce music. Not all girls need to be singers. It's not in any dictionary that says a singer has to be a female or a female has to specifically focus on singing. A recording studio doesn't require a guy to run it. A recording studio can also require a woman to run it, as long as you know what you're doing. I don't think it matters what gender you are. And that's always been my kind of my argument, is that I think people assume that a guy needs to run it or own it or develop it. It's like a woman can do the same thing. And as a feminist, I am a feminist. I'm not gonna lie, I am a feminist. I believe women can do exactly the same thing guys can do. Okay, going into a lighter spectrum of things, we are now going to talk about the gala. I thought Katy Perry's dress was absolutely amazing. Go to Vogue and check out the photographs from the shoots there, the photo shoots. Amazing. There was Tyla from South Africa. She was wearing like a sand. I cannot show the pictures because that's right infringement, and I do not want to go there. I think once you get to a certain level, you can show the pictures, and I'm not at the stage where I'm allowed to do that yet, so I don't push the boundaries. Tyla, who's like that new up-and-coming singer, was actually at the gala as well. She ended up wearing this very very neutral type of outfit, which was made out of sand. The sand was laid on top of textiles, and it was eventually cut after she had completed wearing it as like a performance art piece, because I really do think it was like a performance art piece that she was doing. And from what I hear, she's also like involved in the fashion in some way. I don't know if she's designing stuff yet, but clearly as a South African, we know that people do a lot of manufacturing and sewing, and they have fashion lines and all those things in South Africa. They've branched out, and all these South African designers have gone to New York and done the fashion shows, and come over to the DC area and done fashion shows. So, you know, I think, and then Rihanna, I don't think Rihanna was there, but I think Rihanna is also like a designer. She started in like music, but then she shifted over to fashion, which is what we know as Fenty, right? Fenty is like the thing. I'm sure there are a couple of other people. You had Billie Eilish. I don't know if Billie Eilish was on. I'm sure she was there. I don't think I saw her actual garment. But there were some very interesting pieces. Like you had J-Lo was on everybody talked about J-Lo's outfits. Kim Kardashian wore like a very, very tight corset, And it was just like this whole kind of element. And the background was it's like a romantic feel, very romantic. There was like purple, blues, a lot of purples and blues and greens, and light contrasting colors shifting into red, which was very interesting. As an artist, I'm very interested and fascinated with various colors, and that was an interesting, unique approach to how a general setup is for the Met Gala. Usually it's just like red carpeting. This was totally like a different kind of feel. Definitely romantic. And they had some very, very outgoing pieces. Cardi B wore this huge black dress. So, like, I'm just doing a little bit of a roundup. I don't have the photographs. As I said, please go to Vogue magazine on the app, in the App Store if you do not have the Vogue magazine. It's very, very good. The photographs are absolutely excellent. If you want to take a look at the video, they have the video there. And of course, I would definitely say check out Vogue, because Vogue is the best of the best. It's been around since maybe the 50s, maybe a little before the 50s. I think just before the 50s is when Vogue magazine in Paris is the original place. So go check it out. Yes, I do dabble in more than one thing. People do not understand it, I think, on many occasions. I think people misinterpret who I am. I can actually do 3 different things and develop different skills or different projects within those particular projects. So yes, I feel as if it's important for people to understand that there are people like this out there. I'm not the only one. My husband's another one. He also does fashion, he also does music, and he also paints. So I'm with somebody who understands all perspectives. So I know that I'm not the only one. It's very hard to find, but I know I'm not the only one, because if I was the only one, my husband would not be the same type of person. So we are equal in that context, right? He can paint too, he can draw, he can do music, he used to DJ, and yeah, he also he makes clothing. If he feels like sitting down and working on a garment, he can make a garment too. I mean, we would be a powerhouse if he decides, okay, maybe one day we'll start a fashion line. That would be brilliant. I would love it. I don't think he would do that, but I think at one point of his life he had considered doing fashion as like a job. So yeah, that's basically it. So bear in mind that artists can have multiple skills, and you don't even necessarily have to go to university to be an artist. I just happen to want to learn the academic side of the arts and understand how to put things together, because for me that's like a big deal. Going back to Tyla's dress, I feel she said it was hourglass, but if you go deep down and dark into South Africa, the history of South Africa is very vast. And the Khoisan, I've brought up the Khoisan before, the Khoisan, the Khoi and the Sun, coming from that's my background too, are very vast in the Sahara Desert. They're not they're not as many as they used to be. It's almost like endangered species. Their place has been destroyed and modernized, and people have taken over the land to westernize the space. So there are very few that still live the way they used to, like hunting and gathering. And yeah, it's a different lifestyle. I had a garment that was displayed or performed in South Africa with a dance company, which won an award about the koi and the sun. And I was so thankful that my piece was actually in the show. So I had the privilege of participating, not from there, but from a distance, as somebody who created their garment. So the koi and the sun is like a big thing for me. That's like huge, huge. So my garment once again won an award for a company, and I was honored as the designer to create that particular piece. So yeah, I've done things. I've had a few things in articles. I think I've spoken about this before. I've dressed celebrities on occasion. It's been an interesting experience as somebody that's multi-dimensional. So just remember, when people assume that you have to be one thing, you actually don't really have to be. I think if you have diverse skills, it opens up your mind and broadens your perspective on how to create things on a bigger scale. That's my personal opinion. I might be sitting in my little tiny space over here, but make no mistake, I am making waves online or bringing up a concept that hasn't been necessarily talked about as much. I know that there are artists or multimedia people on the internet, on YouTube, because I've seen it. I've watched some of the videos and channels, and sure enough, some people are actually musicians and designers at the same time, or artists and musicians at the same time. Mine's a bit different. I'm in art, music, and fashion, which is bringing all of them together, right? So I'm coming from three different dimensions of creative perspective. So that's what I wanted to talk about at the moment. That's my music in the background. It's copyright free on my YouTube channel because I own it. And my painting, obviously. A garment that I edited in the back. I kind of adjusted the back of the corset because it was a little, didn't fit too well. So I adjusted it, modified it ever so slightly. Yesterday, I think I spoke about it. So yeah, and then this is... Right. This is my music in the background, but let me play you a piece in the meantime. And then just a quick recap. So once my channel is ready to do this, I will be able to bring all my stock from Poshmark and perhaps set it up on the YouTube channel if and when that happens. And also, if you see me sewing something or making something on the channel, like a painting, you guys can always, like, I'd probably sell it live, so you guys could probably ask me questions about that. I already go live on Poshmark, so that's already set for me on that side. Now it's just a matter of bringing all of those skills into YouTube. I've never done a show where I've brought all my skills together. People have only seen clips of each one of my visions, but YouTube is getting a chance. You guys are getting a chance to see how all of these are going to now start building up and develop as a collective or two, but I do all three. It's not done yet. But just to remind people, I am producing all of these. I'm painting this on YouTube so you guys can see it. And that's where I am in my journey. Art, music, and fashion. And it's all coming together on this channel. And I will be able to, if people want something and they like something from me as this channel grows and develops, you guys will be able to buy it from me right from the platform. Obviously, security measures will have to be in order and everything needs to be checked first through YouTube, but that could be done. Even like maybe even music books could be sold right on the platform. So I could write a book, and I have books. I've written books. I have books on Amazon. So if I write a book for music, I could directly sell it from this channel to send out to people, which will make absolutely perfect sense. So if anybody needs like music books or a beginner's music book for piano, for instance, or vocals, I'll have that ready and accessible once I'm at the level or the stage that YouTube has agreed with to do this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because that really helps the algorithm. And go ahead and watch some of the other videos or the lives that I've done and touched up on and ideas. And I have young students coming in or young people coming in to talk to me. So I'm very appreciative of all ages. I don't mind. It just needs to be made clear that the younger people know that the parents are watching, and I want them to make sure that this is like a safe spot for everybody to appreciate and enjoy. And I will be able to help you guys with 3 of the skills, okay? Arigatou gozaimashita. Matashi to sign out, and bye bye. See you guys.